Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mothers would practically build themselves. Well, folks, it's Mad Dog Merv. Today, well, I am going to be doing some work on a lava field. It's been a project I've been wanting to do for a very long time, and I think I've got an idea of how I want to go about doing it. So let's get right to it, because this is going to look great on my Halloween layout. Today we are going to build a lava field.
So I needed a base, and I looked around to see what I had. I wanted something really thin. I have this piece of flooring material, this laminate flooring, and so I just flipped it over. It's the interlocking kind. You can see I've already used it to do some spray painting on. Anyway, this is going to be my base, and I went and got some rocks. You can see those here. I got some small rocks from my backyard, and we're going to need those. So this is a piece of spray foam insulation that I've had for a couple of years. I did a video on that a couple of years ago, but we're going to incorporate this into our piece today. And we need the cores of paper towels. I'm cut this one down to just a couple of inches tall, and then the second segment, well, you'll see what I do with that here in just a minute. And we're going to get out our hot glue gun because we're going to need that. So I'm going to take the shorter of the two segments that I cut, and we're just going to cut it open so we can kind of spread it out a little bit. You'll see what we do with that in a moment. Here's our rocks. These are just some that I got out of the backyard. They were nice and clean, so I didn't have to clean them up. So that was a good thing. They were kind of by where I keep my hose. So yeah, it was quite handy. I have a lot of these for different projects. So now I'm going to take my hot glue gun, and I'm going to glue the taller one in place, and then I'm going to glue that kind of spread out one in place, and my rocks. Now I'm going to take this piece of cardstock. As you can see, I'm drawing the circle, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut this out. This is going to be it's not necessarily a lid, but it'll be the highest part of the cone, if you will, or the, I guess, lava tube. I don't know what you call it. I guess it's called a cone. So anyway, got to just trim it up a bit so we can get it to go down inside there. And you can see here, it's just sitting down inside there about 1/4 of an inch. You can go as far down as you want. I was fortunate enough that it kind of stayed in place, so I hit it with a little bit of hot glue along the edges to get it to stay in place. Now we're going to take our hot glue, and I'm going to go around and seal the edge real good. You can see here. And then I'm going to take my hot glue and run it back and forth. Oh yeah, we got to cut a little piece off here so that the lava can drain from the one cone down to the other. And then I'm going to take my hot glue, and we're going to kind of run it back and forth here in the center of the cone. And the reason for that, it will give me kind of the texture of moving lava that I want. I'm also going to take some of the hot glue, and I'm going to drip it down from the one cone to the other cone. Now, I haven't put the lid on the other cone yet. I'm not going to do that on this video. Just know that right after I'm done here, that's the next step, is to measure that and put that in place, do the same thing. So here you go. And you can see I've kind of run some of the glue down, cascading it, making it look like there's kind of a cascade of lava going from the one cone to the other cone and then dripping down from there onto the base. So now for our base material, and I use something completely different than most people. You can use celluclay, you can use a lot of different things. This is attic insulation sold by a company called Green Fiber. You can get a bale, and I mean a bale of this, for about 12 bucks. And what it is, it's shredded up newspaper. It's recycled newspaper and other papers. And I'm going to take some plaster of Paris and just mix some of that into it, dump some water in, and we are going to mix this up and get going. So anywhere that I want to look like lava flow, I'm going to put this stuff. So the side of the cones, the inside of the cone edge, not the main part where I've done that glue for the lava, but pretty much anywhere that I want to simulate the lava. And I'm not going to put it all over that mound in the back, just over part of it, and you'll see why here in a bit. So this took about 12 hours to dry thoroughly, and then I got some acrylic house paint that I have, some wall paint that's black, and I painted the whole thing. Before that, I did take a piece of styrofoam, cut it on an angle, a nice flat piece. It was a thin piece, and you can see there on the right-hand side, I put that over there to simulate like a parking lot. Why? I wasn't 100% sure, but I knew I would need something like that. So anyway, once this dried, I was ready to start doing my effects. So for the effects, I'm going to use some white and some black, just regular old craft paint. I've mixed up kind of 3 different colors, a darker gray, a medium gray, and a light gray, and I'm going to dry brush the entire surface. And here's the results with the 3 different tones. Each one I go just very light over, but there you go. Now I take some of my hot glue and I'm going to pour my hot lava, the glue. That's what I'm going to use for it. And I decided that the mound, I was going to have a spout or an area where it's coming out of that mound as well. I just didn't want it in the one cone. So here you go. Here's what that looks like. I went ahead and painted it light gray so that it was ready for the next step, the painting of the lava. Now you could use craft paint, but what I'm choosing to use is some good old Model Master, and this is a deep yellow. This is going to be my base that I'm going to put all over the lava that I've got coming out. And I decided to do this, well, for a bunch of different reasons, but it covers very, very well. Now I'm going to take this fluorescent reddish orange that I've got, and I'm going to kind of towards the edge, I'm going to feather this in while the yellow is still wet, and then I'm going to take some of this red, and I actually used gloss red, not flat red, and did the edges. So here's kind of a look at how I did it. You don't get a picture of just the yellow, sorry. I was in a hurry, so I did the yellow first. But before it dried, I took that orange and kind of feathered it in on the edges. And then here you can see on the bottom, I've taken some of that red and feathered it in as well. Again, while it's still wet, maybe adding a little bit of thinner to just kind of make a nice blend, a nice transition. You can see here, I've got a little bit too much red on the edge, and I don't like that. I'm going to have to come back and I'm going to have to fix that just a little bit. But all in all, I kind of like the look of this lava. Here's a better close-up of how that is. And here you can see the colors that I used to make the flow. Okay, so not looking too bad overall, but you know what, I'm not happy. So I'm going to widen out this lava flow a little bit bigger. And I'm going to add a fence. And I got this fence from China. It's one of those things I got off Amazon, HO scale fence that I thought would be absolutely perfect for what we're going to do here. So I put that into place. I added some more lava effect and repainted those areas till I felt I really liked how the lava looked. And really, it's just preference. You just keep going, adding a little bit of red or a little bit of orange or a little bit of yellow, going over it, 4 or 5 times in some places, just so I felt good about how it looked. Now, the mound. I decided I had way too much of the black rock everywhere, and the way I had put that that ground cover on there, there was still some areas here that I could go back, paint brown, do my dry brushing, and make it look like regular ground that just had some of the lava spill and cool on it. So that's what I decided to do. And you can see the results here. Again, it was just painted with like a chocolate brown craft paint, and then dry brushed with various lighter tones of white and brown added together. And then here's some foliage. I actually took a few pieces of clump foliage, put in there, some grasses that I had, and just put little clumps here and there to make it look a little bit interesting. Now on our fence, I'm going to go ahead and do the brick part in kind of a brick color, and the black wrought iron fence. It's got to be about a 7-foot fence in this scale, but I like it. I think it looks really good. And well, it's a fence, so why not add a couple of people? A couple of people looking at the lava. So I had these figures, and they were already painted, and great. I just put them there, and well, add a little bit of interest to it at least for me. And as you can see, I used some Larry's bathwater and made those bricks, the separations in the bricks. So here you go, kind of an overall look at it. I'm very pleased with how it turned out. Now, I need to put it somewhere on that train layout for October. And here's a sneak peek of starting that train layout. I'm laying out different components on here to see where they'll fit, and this is where I'm going to put this lava effect. So anyway, folks, thanks for joining us. I hope you got something useful out of this, and we'll see you again soon with this layout finished. In the meantime, happy modeling.